Hot. Donald Trump, the twice impeached, disgraced former president of the United States and accused felon, will be a no-show in Milwaukee for the Fox News moderated debate by Bret Baier and Martha MacCallum. Before going further, Bret Baier is a major player in this moment of national tragedy. It was Bret Baier who was on the Fox anchor desk on election night. It was his job to inform, to tell the American people who were tuned in to a cable news station that calls itself fair and balanced what reality was, what the truth was. The reality was the audience had been conditioned by Election Day, and Bret Baier knew it. He knew they didn't want to hear the truth. He knew there was risk for informing them about reality. Tucker Carlson understood the risk as well. So it's important to understand there's no difference, and no difference of moral standing between Tucker Carlson, who will be with Donald Trump, and Bret Baier, who will be with the Republican candidates who seek to dethrone Donald Trump. Donald Trump isn't coming to the debate, and the debate will still be about Donald Trump. It will give his opponents an opportunity to show their mettle, to show their character, who is and who is not terrified of the coming mean tweet after the debate, and just exactly how delusional is Vivek Ramaswamy. All of these questions and then some will be answered in the Milwaukee debate. One of the most unifying issues at this moment in American life is this: the American people, Democrats, independents, Republicans, do not want to see Donald Trump return to power. They do not want to see the MAGA retribution fantasies come to life in another presidential term. They want to move on. We want something better. This is the exhausted majority that I often talk about. There is an exhausted majority in this country who is tuning out the news, tuning out the nonsense. But the fact is, the danger the country faces is from the MAGA minority joining to become a narrow majority with a coalition of indifference. Indifference plus extremism could be enough to win a contest in the Electoral College for Donald Trump. Remember, this isn't a sprint. It's not golf. The rules aren't fair. The start isn't even. The race isn't clean, so to speak. One side has advantages over the other and will apply them and press them with no mercy whatsoever. Now, Donald Trump won't show up at the debate, and he'll be told, at least initially, that that was the smart thing to do. It was the right thing to do because he's so big and he's so far out front. But that doesn't matter because those polling numbers mean nothing at this stage in the race. There are four big things that have happened thus far in the Republican primary. The first is that Donald Trump stands accused of 90 felonies over multiple jurisdictions, including New York, the state of Georgia, and federal indictments. Ron DeSantis, who was for a brief shining moment the alternative, has completely collapsed. Tim Scott has moved into position in the state of Iowa to be a winner, and Christie is precisely in the position that John McCain was during his comeback in the New Hampshire primary, coming out of the summer and making the turn into September. That's what's happened thus far. All of the other candidates are non-entities. The action on the debate stage, Tim Scott, Christie, and that's it. We already know that Ron DeSantis is going to attack Vivek Ramaswamy in a weird sideshow. Who knows what Mike Pence will say about the man who tried to have him hung, or what the formerly sycophantic Nikki Haley will say. What will matter and what Trump will be watching for is what Chris Christie says. And Chris Christie should seek to demolish Ron DeSantis and anybody who serves as Donald Trump's proxy on that debate stage to give the American people a taste of what a debate with Donald Trump on the stage with Chris Christie will be. Donald Trump doesn't understand that the debate will still be about him. He just won't be there to defend himself. Instead, he'll be over on Tucker Carlson's Twitter cast, talking nonsense, spinning insanities and inanities, conspiracy theories. He will, with each spoken word, poison the American body politic. He will add to his countless volumes of lies, numbered at this point in the tens and tens of thousands. He will say that an election was rigged when it was not. He will say that it was stolen when it was not. He will try to paint himself as a victim. He will rage. He will threaten. He will talk about retribution and retaliation. He will not speak about the country. He will not talk about making it stronger. Instead, he will smear it. He will smear its institutions. And Tucker Carlson will steer him through that conversation. It will be steeped in racial malice and in division. It will be two liars poisoning America. And it will mean nothing at all to the millions and millions and millions of hardworking Americans who are tuning out all of this bullshit, tired of it, exhausted by it, but who don't wish to tolerate it any longer either. We are told over and over and over again by all of the geniuses who have missed almost every happening over the last 7 years that for sure Donald Trump will be the Republican nominee. I'm not so sure. There is not a national primary election day. There is a succession of state contests. And what has to happen for Trump to implode, to deflate, and fade away is for him to lose Iowa, and then for him to lose New Hampshire. And then the mystique will suddenly be gone, and the predator will be the prey. It is a vicious game. And let's face it, Donald Trump doesn't look like he has his A game. He looks stressed, tired, hunted. He knows the walls are closing in. His campaign is a grift. It's incoherent. Every dollar raised goes to a lawyer. And the Republican Party, because of its crisis of cowardice, because of a depravity that has seeped deep into the Republican soul, the party is going down with the ship. The Republican Party is Donald Trump, and Donald Trump is the Republican Party. MAGA and the Republican Party are each other's vessels, each hollow, each able to carry each other's agendas, each agenda poisonous for America's future. The MAGA agenda is going to be on criminal trial, and the MAGA agenda will face a political test. The test, though, is on the shoulders of the American people. We are told over and over again by a broken media that what we want as a country is Trump, that we want this as our politics. It's $1 billion industry. And it doesn't seem to matter to anybody in it that people are turning it off and tuning it out. And that most of the people in the boxes on television have no credibility whatsoever and live lives that are completely detached from the lives of ordinary working Americans. They're in the business of puffing up Trump. They are his indispensable business partners. Donald Trump is simply sending them a message by refusing to appear on Fox News' air. He's unhappy. He's aggrieved. And what he's saying is, I'm going to take the money, the ratings, and bring them over here to this guy. Though he hates me, he has been faithful to me. And this is the sick MAGA world. And make no mistake, the decision to fire Tucker Carlson because Fox News lied its way into almost $1 billion in defamation liabilities, all of these things are connected. Bret Baier and Tucker Carlson are the same millionaire liars who deceive the American people with misinformation, the tips of the spear in $1 billion disinformation economy. Thank you for listening to my political commentary. If you like what you heard today, please also consider subscribing to The Warning, daily newsletter on Substack. Our democracy hangs in the balance. The 2024 presidential election is the most consequential in America's history. It's not hyperbole, it's a fact. That is why the mission of The Warning with Steve Schmidt is to help readers orient to the currents that are shaping our times and the unseen forces driving politics that are very rarely discussed on cable news. Please sign up at Steve Schmidt, SteveSchmidt.substack.com. Again, SteveSchmidt.substack.com, or at the link in the show notes section below. Thank you to each and every one of you for listening and watching. So Donald Trump is staging a walkout and heading over to Twitter. And there we see a startling duality. The men and women who seek to be president of the United States. The man, the accused criminal, who they were all slavishly devoted to, with Tucker Carlson outside, cast out, disloyalty everywhere. And then on the stage will be all the pretenders, hoping and praying that they could be the person who rises up if Trump suddenly deflates. But there's one person who's different, and he's far from perfect. That guy's Christie. He knows Trump. He knows him well. He was the only guy who ever said amongst them that Donald Trump was his friend. That's how he related to him. Now, Christie's friend almost killed Christie, gave him COVID during debate prep. But Christie has been telling the truth about Donald Trump. And more importantly than that, he's been doing it effectively. He has been cutting Trump when he steps up and gets into a room in New Hampshire. And don't underestimate the importance of New Hampshire. They won't like a candidate like Trump who doesn't show up. They didn't forgive Rudy Giuliani for it in 2008. The race is far from over. This debate is going to get Donald Trump the exact result he didn't want. It's going to put him at the center of attention and unable to respond to the truth. And the person who's going to deliver that truth on the stage is Christie. And the people who try to stop it, who try to oppose it with their BS, are not particularly talented. It's going to be fun watching the New Jersey governor steamroll them. Donald Trump will be at the second debate, and he'll be at every one after that, because his ego can't handle not being in the room where it happens. And he won't be in there, because the room where it happens isn't any room that Tucker Carlson is in anymore. There will be many twists and turns in the race ahead. Buckle up. This debate is the start of the interesting phase of the campaign. Thank you for watching. Make sure you subscribe to our channel so you never miss a video. Also, for more content just like this, please consider joining our Warning Premium community. You can find out more in the description below.